Welcome everyone back to the MRC GTE League. We're here back in Germany where we were for our last live stream, this time at Hockenheim. So we were not able to bring you round 5 on the live stream, but we can go over the results for you. So Gaz took his second win, back-to-back wins for the first time for him. Ben came second, 11 seconds behind. Just behind him was Sean. Coleman in 4th place, where he seems to like to finish recently. Matt, who is new to the league, in 5th. He is Skanky Puppy on PSN. We had Alex in 6th, Adam 7th, Philo in 8th, Thomas in 9th, and William in 10th. So what that does for the championship standings, we'll do the overall for now. Coleman on 117, Ben on 114, Gaz on 112, Tomas on 92, Sean on 88 in the first and driver, Adrian on 66, Well on 38, Steph 37, Philo 30, Greg 28, Alex 28, William 22, Matt 16, Adam 12, and Jay. We're starting to get qualified now, so we will go over a couple more of the things during the formation lap. So right now we are watching Jeff, who will go with him for his lap. Turn 1's a very, very tricky lap corner. So he's going to have lost time there. Of course, he can only do 1 lap, so he kept out the wall. That's a bonus for him. Of course, he's going to have lost time, but anyone else could crash or spin, so... I see one of the BMWs in the background weaving to get heat into the tyres. Because under these new rules, you have 1 lap to go out, 1 lap to qualify, and that is your session. Even if you have time for a second lap, you can't do it. So he's gone what looks a bit deep into the hairpin. Of course, all of the SBR guys have now changed their names to put SBR at the end, so that when I do this commentary for them, I can't see it. It says Jeff. Oh, it looked like he'd gone wide again. A little bit of lag was involved, but he definitely messed that up. It's been a very, very scruffy lap from him, which is not what you need in a one-shot. Like I said, it's not within the wall, so it could be worse. As he comes into the stadium section. Comes down to the last corner alongside the drag strip. Comes out of the last corner, what's he gonna say? It's a 137.5. What are others going to see? Apollo is set at 37.2. That was someone round. I think Adam has invalidated his lap. He must have gone off at the last corner. So we've got Mr. Bentley. Matt has done a 36.5 to take pole. Greg goes into 4th with a 38.9. Oh, Mr. Bentley about to cross the line. Is this for his lap? It is. He's done a 37.6, slots him into 4th. We've had Tomas with a 38.1. There's Ben starting his lap. Adrian's in the pits. He didn't get a lap in along with Adam. GMG down at the hairpin. Coleman goes 4th, 37.3, 8/10 off a pole. So that just leaves GMG, Alex and Ben to set a lap. Who's going to be next? It's going to be GMG. As he has just come out of the Mercedes curve. So he's going very slow. Wonder did he mess up the lap and he's just going to get it across the line. This is a very slow lap as he comes into the Sachs curve. Of course, if he just sets up, he's at least going to go ahead of Adam and Adrian. It's only a minimum of 12th place, but it's better than last. Yeah, he's had a very, very slow lap. He comes across the line. The 2 minute. He must have spun somewhere and just decided to get it home. Who is next? It's Ben. This comes out of Sud Curve. Where's he gonna go? Only 8th, a 38.0. So, what does that leave Alex to do? Of course, we've no gas, so the two-time race winner isn't here. So it comes around the Sud Curve. Runs a bit wide, that's got his lap invalidated. So that's 3 people who didn't get to keep their laps. So that means Sean gets pole with a 36.1 after initial pole sitter Matt done a 36.5. And Roach is third with a 37.1. So only 3 people, or 2 people within a second of Sean in the front row. Then you do have Coleman just back there, Jeff, Mr. Bentley, Ben, Tomas and Greg rounding out the top 10. So like we said, there is more to go over. We'll go over some of the race details and some of the AM standings. So in Pro, Gaz is leading with 17, then Coleman and Ben are both on 12, 14 even, sorry. Sean is on 12, Tomas is on 6, William and Matt both on 1, and then Will, Alex, Adam and Jeff all have 0. Let me get to Glass, Adrian on 23, Greg 12, Philo 11 and Steph on 10. So it's quite something that most of the drivers are in the Pro class. They've managed to perform well enough. So, some of the race details. Your normal 1 hour race, your pit window is from lap 44 to 22. And as for the acceleration and formation and acceleration zone, I don't have them. But I imagine the formation zone is somewhere around the start of the last sector and acceleration zone out of the last corner. That would be my guess. There's Sean, you can see there in the Ferrari. This is his view down to turn 1. So we wait for everyone to start getting their setups. Here's the second placed man from Long Beach. Doesn't look like it's a good track for the M6s. In fact, although Roach is up in 3rd in one. So, it seems like some of the M3 drivers have just had an absolute nightmare. Here is Adam down in 12th, Jackson in 13th, and Alex in 14th. The 3 people that didn't manage to set a time due to track limit infringements. And we start getting ready for the formation lap. Of course they won't go. And it'll be down to Sean to lead them off. And they will all follow around for this formation lap. Of course, the race can be far different grip conditions to qualifying, so as much as this is for just keeping everything warm, there'll be a hint of trying to figure out where the grip is. Even though they're going quite slow, you'll still be able to tell where there's understeer and where there's not. So we've seen quite often in the first few laps this race, we've seen some people fall back. Coleman, namely, has done it quite a few times, but then recovered. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do if he doesn't have a mishap in the first lap and can move through without an incident, because he was very good at overtaking and very good pace in Nürburgring and Spa, where he had incidents in the first few laps. There's definitely an opportunity for Coleman today. He is who I would say to watch out for. course, you have his teammate Tomas down in 9th, so not a amazing qualifying session for that team. Sean in the 71 Ferrari exits the Mercedes section. As they go into the Mobile 1 curve. It seems like they are starting to form up now, as I thought they would. Forming up now, everyone will get side by side. Sean's picked the right hand side for the inside to turn 1. Matt doesn't seem to want to get alongside him, or is he going to do it out of this corner? So I imagine Sean can go anywhere out of this last corner. Will he bolt it straight away, or...? He's gone. He's already got a gap on Matt, as they all get into turn 1 safely. We'll try and look through the midfield. Looks like Ben was thinking about a move on Mr. Bentley there. GMG has fallen a bit back already. There's Adam trying to get past Adrian. He has Alex just in front of him. In fact, he has got past Adrian. There's Alex and Greg in front of him. So that is Apollo going down the inside of Roach very ambitiously. Forces him off the track. And Coleman has managed to gain out of that. He's up to 4th place. Ben has dropped back down to 9th. Tomas has managed to pass him somewhere, possibly into the hairpin. Tomas actually has a look now, and Mr. Bentley gets it stopped. Didn't look like he was gonna. Mr. Bentley's gone wide, so Tomas should be able to swing around the outside, which it looks like he does. Will he be able to hold it into the Mobile 1 curve? He does. Ben's defending from Alex. Sean and Matt have just pulled away. They've got over a second to 3rd place Apollo. So that's a good start for Tomas, up 2 places. Coleman's gained 1. Ben's lost 1. Doesn't look like we've had much movement other than that. So looks like Coleman now could be lining up a move on Apollo. That's someone way wide. That's Ben, I think. That's not Ben. I think that was Roach who was going wide. I'm not sure. And Coleman actually did get past Apollo, so he managed to pass him into turn 2. Or even out of it. Like I say, Coleman has been very, very good at moving up the field, and he's gained 2 places and just overlapped to get himself into 3rd. He's got any other moves going on into the hairpin? Not yet, as Mr. Bentley nearly goes into the back of Tomas. There is your race leader, Sean. There's Matt. There's Coleman. Well, this has been the start Sean wanted. He's got over a second to Matt. Well, it looks like these 3 could be set up for a fight. Tomas, Mr. Bentley, and Ben. In fact, even Greg's now on the back of it now. As Mr. Bentley's tried an audacious move around the outside of 13. Sorry, that's turn 15. Oh, I thought that was Greg maybe looking at a move there, Mr. Bentley. Because Ben's got him past him, so now he's the next one. And actually, Matt has been passed by Coleman now. So Coleman is absolutely carving through this field. but will Matt be able to get back with the slipstream? He's only 2/10 behind. Coleman's gone to the inside. Although there's still a gap there, Matt's opted for the outside. Matt's gone far too deep in there. Coleman should hold this, which he does. A brilliant defending from Coleman keeps his second place for now, though. Is Matt gonna think about it? Look down the inside. Sort of half-heartedly thought about it, but that looks like now she can't really overtake in this next half of the lap. That Coleman has now got that second place. Ben is 1.1 behind Tomas. That's someone back. That's Jeff. Jeff's gone off out of the Mercedes section. He is now down to 13th. GMG in 14th. Something must have happened to him on that last lap because he was 16 seconds slower. There's Matt. There's a gap opening up back to Roach. Because in fact, Tomas has caught him and he's bringing Ben with him. Four-tenths. We saw in Nürburgring that Ford is mighty down the straight. Will it be able to repeat that here in Hockenheim? Looks like it will. You can see the time going down and down and down. It looks like Tomas is gonna have a move. He's down the inside. He's ahead for now. Just can he get his braking point right now? He's locked up the front right. He's gone deep. He's had to go off. Is that gonna allow Ben through? No. In fact, Tomas is still alongside. He's left it out of it. Is that going to let Ben through? No. He's still on the inside though somehow, despite lifting out of it. Roach looks like he's gone around the outside, but he's got a bit train tracked on the curb. Still side by side. Ben's thinking about sticking his nose in and making it 3 wide. And Ben, somehow, has got the pair of them there. They just sat behind, waited for those two to get on with it, and he's just driven down the middle of the pair of them. That is brilliant from Ben. And Roach and all that has gone from 5th to 7th in 1 or 2 corners. Oh, and there's Tomas, he's gone off. So all of his hard work trying to pass people, and he's gone off at turn 15. So he is down to 11th. So his tyres might not be in the greatest of condition after that spin. And have we lost someone? I think we've lost Adam. Oh, Tomas has nearly gone off again at turn 2. Oh, who else have we got? We have Apollo on the back of Matt. Matt did ever so well in qualifying, but it just looks like in the race he just doesn't have the pace of the others. Either Apollo flashed the lights there or they hit the brakes for some reason, I'm not sure. Well, it looks like he's trying to take that last podium position away from Matt. Here Yuzu is caught back up to Roach. Can't Greg do anything about him? There's Apollo. We'll see what his lap time is relative to Matt. Pretty much the same, but I guess that will happen when you're behind someone. Now, Greg is right behind Roach. Is he going to think about a move into turn 1? He'd be brave to try that. He's backed out of it. Of course, that'll hurt him all the way down this straight into turn 2. He's gone wide. What about these straight into the hairpin? Or, well, not very straight. The Parabolica. And Looks like Roach is at a better exit. So it looks like any threat into the hairpin isn't going to happen for now unless Greg... he's actually catching quite quick. Is he going to be able to have a move? Roach hasn't defended it. Not quite close enough. In fact, there's Alex in all this. Is he going to do an up and under? No. Looks like Greg just got good enough traction. And there, Coleman is now a second behind Sean. So he's gone from 5th and is now charging down 1st place. I did say he's one to watch, and he's certainly proven it right. Had a fantastic first 12 or so minutes. That's it, Mr. Bentley going slightly wide in the back there. Is this Greg's chance? Yes, he's got past into the Sachs curve. You don't see that very often. Now, what about Alex? Can he do anything about Roach? Of course, he is that mega fast Ford GT. So if he can just stick close through turn 1 and 2, he can get a good exit of 3 and 4. He has that entire straight to get him down to the hairpin. Oh! In fact, oh, that's 3 cars off? Yeah, that's Roach, Alex, and Greg. All off at turn 1. So Greg had his own incident. Alex then went off and caught... Or, sorry, Roach went off and caught Alex in the process. So we've had 3 cars off at turn 1 in what seemed to be 2 separate incidents. Roach could have been slightly nervous and trying to avoid Greg's spinning car, but who knows? And that has put Tomas back up to 7th. I'm sure none of these guys are happy, particularly Alex, who is the sort of innocent party in it. But that's what happens sometimes. Oh, either he's just lost grip or he maybe has some rear end damage, but we might see these 3 coming in quite early into the pit stop window. Now here's Coleman. 7 tenths to Sean. 6 tenths, it's coming down. He also has that Ford GT, so if he gets a chance... Matt is still holding Apollo off behind him, 8 tenths. It's the 2 Porsches. But this is the one we're interested in, Coleman versus Sean. It's 5 tenths going onto the straight. This is definitely doable this time around. In fact, Sean is pulling away. Oh, it's starting to come down now. So maybe that Ferrari is just as quick in a straight. But these 2 are going to go at it for a while, I suspect. What about the midfield? There's Tomas, here's Mr. Bentley ahead of him, then Alex, Roach and Greg, who all went off at turn 1. And Adrian is behind. And if Greg has significant damage, Adrian could pass Greg here. There's Coleman, 3 tenths to Sean now. He's just so quick in the race. Sean a bit wide to the Sachs curve, but he's going to get a good exit because of that. So Ben, actually, despite having a terrible qualifying, is the fastest man on track. He was last time around with a 36.5. And he's only a couple of seconds behind Matt and Apollo. It was only a 37.3 last lap. So that's not entirely great. Okay, so Coleman has a far better chance this time. 3 tenths. That Ferrari looks like it's very, very quick in a straight line. Sean could have a very low downforce setting. Coleman goes to the outside. Sean's had to sit in the middle of the road. That Ferrari has a lot of traction out of the hairpin. Into turn 8, the Mercedes curve. Seemingly hard corner, this one. It also seems, though, Coleman has a lot of downforce. He's so much quicker than Sean in this sort of last half of the lap. So it could very well be that Sean just has a very low downforce setup. And Coleman can have a slightly higher. Either that or it's all down to confident levels in the race. If you're unconfident, you're not going to fly the car through corners, so Coleman could be on cloud 9 and Sean could be a bit nervous with Coleman right behind him. And as we see back there, Adrian did get past Greg. That's because Greg's pitted. First chance in the mandatory window. Of course, you won't see, or you probably won't see people that don't have damage pitting until either halfway or just after halfway. Some people like to stretch it as long as they can, some like to make it exactly 50-50. Coleman this time, which way is he going to go? He's picked the inside. Oh, looked like he committed to the move, but then Sean sort of shut the door mid. Oh, slight contact there. And look, Coleman committed to the inside, but then Sean sort of shut the door mid braking, so I thought Coleman was going to end up rear-ending him, but they both did well to not do anything worse than that minor touch. And Ben, I assume he pitted. We never saw that, but I'm guessing that's why he is now there. Coleman's had a great exit out of there, can't do it into the Sachs curve. He's ducking and diving all over the place. He just can't find a way past Sean just yet. Is this going to come down to strategy? Will Sean make a mistake? Will Coleman make a mistake? But right now, it's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Coleman has flown through until he's hit Sean. Not literally. You know what I mean. He hasn't literally hit him, but it seems down into the hairpin at turn 6 is his best opportunity. He just needs to get a good exit out of 3 and 4, which it seems like he has now. He's under 2/10 going onto the straight. So Sean currently sticking to the middle of the road, drags it over to the right. He's not letting Coleman get the inside line. Again, Coleman goes outside. It doesn't have the traction out of there to do a cutback. So there's Jeff on the back of Adrian. Coleman is so much faster in this last section. It's the part of the track where you're very unlikely to make a pass, and he's so much faster in the Mobile 1 curve. So much faster. Coleman has got off. He's made a mistake. So he was the one who cracked first. Although I'm sure it'll give him a lap or two and he'll be back on him. Of course, the more these two fight and hold each other up, Ben is out there having already pitted and on fresh tyres. So we might see Ben come into play a little bit later on. Here is Ben into turn 15. There's Jeff just ahead of him, who I don't believe is pitted. Pretty sure he hasn't. He's on the back of Adrian. Ben with a 37.1, 3/10 faster than Sean. So when Ben came in, he was about 9 seconds behind Sean and Coleman. So it's not out of the question of them pitting and Ben coming out very, very near to them. Of course, he will have older tyres. Coleman's got under the second barrier again. Oh, he went wide through there that time. Tomas currently up in 4th. He's had a bit of a hectic first opening laps, avoiding crashes and just working his way through, and he's currently up in a net P4. Or I think with Ben pitting it might be a net P5 for now. Which, considering he started down in 9th, I'd say is a decent first stint for him. There's Ben 2.7 to Jeff now. There's Apollo's been in. He needs to, he's in a battle with Matt. And the fact that Ben has come out a couple of seconds ahead of Apollo, Matt might not be so safe here with his P3. What time's Ben gonna do? 37.0. He needs to go a bit faster than that if he wants to be catching these front two. But he's definitely in contention for a P3. And now Coleman is back onto the case of Sean. Now we're into the last sector where he has been so much quicker. So the battle resumes now into the Sachs curve. For bouncing off limiters there. So is Coleman just gonna keep trying down into turn 6, or is he maybe going to try and spring a surprise on Sean? Try and get him somewhere he won't expect it? Is this going to be a chance? 4 tenths. He's been closer on other laps and not done it, so it doesn't look like it's going to be an attempt. Sean slightly moves right just to cover it. Coleman couldn't do it on this. Is Ben. He's got about a second to Jeff on a 37.9 last lap. That is a second slower than Coleman, so Ben needs to go a bit quicker than that. And that's also 9 tenths slower than Matt. I think right now Matt is the realistic target for Ben. Of course, the drivers have about 12 minutes left of pit window. Will we see different strategies up the front? Will people go one lap longer than others? Will we see undercuts? This is partly what I'm sure Coleman and Sean are thinking about. What do they do when it comes to pit stops to try and get the advantage? Is that Coleman nearly into the back, Sean? That's GMG getting lapped. Got out of the way quite nicely there. We have Alex into the pits from P6 or P5 even. Certainly look, Coleman could have had an attempt. I think he maybe got put off a little bit by GMG being there. He was nearly hitting Sean around turn 2. There's GMG getting out the way of Matt. There's Alex just exiting his pit box now, rolling down the pits. There's Mr. Bentley. We haven't seen much of him since the opening stages. He was fighting away with the likes of Roach and Ben and Tomas. He's in P5. He was one of the cars not cut up in that early crash, so he's probably gained a lot out of that. Ben 2.7 behind Roach. What did he do last lap? 37.7. It's just not quick enough right now. Either he's struggling or trying to save. Well, it looks like Matt. Since Ben's been in the pits and come out, Matt's gained about 1.5 seconds on Ben. Coleman having to get out of it in turn 1 as he got caught up on the curb. Didn't want to spin the car. There's GMG in the pits with a pretty battered car. And this from Sean is a very good defensive drive. He hasn't made a single error, despite having Coleman breathing down his neck for the best part of 10-15 minutes. There's Jeff in the pits from P10. Slight lock up from Sean. So when are we going to see the first pit stops of these two? They have just under 10 minutes left of the pit window. So within a couple of laps we will see them in. As Coleman is in. He is the first to blink. What will Sean do in reaction? Will he just do one lap? Will he do a couple of push laps? Where will Ben come out in relation to Coleman? Ben is out of the Mobile 1 curve coming into the sacked curve. He's got Roach ahead of him. Tomas keeps going. Whereas Coleman just sitting there. Ben's coming around the final corner now. I think. Oh, as Coleman is now on the pit exit. There is Ben. So, maybe Ben was making slightly better progress than I thought. Coleman's going to have to clear Roach very quickly. Of course, Roach is going to have Ben's slipstream. So it's not going to be as easy for Coleman, but he could try a dive bomb. She doesn't. This is not helping in his chances with Sean. He's getting massively held up. So is he going to have a move into turn 8? Roach, did he? Thought he was defending there. Probably not the wisest thing to do. But this is really hurting Coleman as Sean is in the pits. There's Coleman going for it into the Mobile 1 curve. He is. He can't lose any more time behind Roach, and he's made it happen. Ben is just there. He's 9/10 away. Oh, there is Sean moving. Ben is coming into turn 15. Sean is just exiting the pits, so Sean has somehow gained a ton. And there is Sean. He's way ahead. 6.4 ahead of Ben. So, for whatever reason that Coleman is now 7.5 seconds behind Sean. If he wants to win this race, he's got to do what he did in the first stint all over again. And I think he'll have to pass Ben quite quickly as well, because I don't think Ben's going fast enough for that to be a possibility. Of course, we're still for Matt to pit. He's in his battle with Apollo. Tomas is still to pit, as is Roach. But it looks like Matt will no longer be in that podium fight, it seems, as he is now in the pits. So we'll see where he comes out. He will be looking at Apollo, as Ben is now the one to deal with Coleman all over the back of him. There is Matt. He's just exiting the pits now. Has Matt come out in a net P2? He has. Somehow. Something is going on with these pit stops. Because Coleman has gone from being right behind the leader to net P4. And Apollo, who was right behind Matt, is now 13 seconds behind. So what on earth has been happening? But is this going to be Coleman past Ben here? Ben has a 3-second time penalty. So how is that going to affect Ben later on in the race, as Coleman now goes down the inside into the Mercedes curve? You did think with Coleman trying to pass Ben it was more a case of when, not if. That's Coleman back into a net podium position. Now he has to go chase down Matt. He's got about 4 seconds to make up. It's going to have to be constant qualifying laps without error for Coleman to try and get back into the fight for the win. Here's GMG again going down the pit straight, being lapped. So there's Roach finally into the pits. And there is Sean, the big winner out of all this. There is Greg about to be lapped by Sean. Is he lifting off the throttle? Because he's gonna have... I think that's Jeff just behind him. Yeah, that's Jeff just behind Greg for position. There is Matt, there's Coleman, who's already got the gap down to 3.7. So since he passed Ben, it's already down 6/10. Of course, Jeff will be wanting to go and fight Greg, but with all these cars lapping him, it's gonna be a hard ask. Just gonna have to move for Matt soon. Of course, the likes of Coleman and Ben, we're hoping that he doesn't get out of Matt's way. Just make sure that is Matt, that is. I'm surprised we're not seeing flashes of the lights unless he thinks he's not quite close enough to be able to lap him yet. Of course, that should be where he gets it done. Jeff lefts off. Or does he? He's gonna let Matt by regardless, but... there he goes. There's Matt pass, there's Coleman and Ben in the background. Here's Adrian in 9th place. We've lost someone else from the standings. I'm not sure who. There's no way to see there. Coleman, he is next to lap these two. He'll be hoping they get out of the way sharp. There's Tomas off the road. So he's spun at the last corner. Either that or he forgot he had to pit, because this is the last time he can. So, that's either what's happened. He either forgot he needed to pit, or just happened to spin. Alright, Jeff and Greg need to get out of the way quick, as Greg has a penalty of 1 second. Of course, he and Jeff are fighting for the final point position. Coleman trying to get every advantage he can, getting a slipstream off of Jeff. Now he's going to want Greg out of the way quick. Greg's just gone wide to let him through. Is that going to let Jeff by? No, Greg's managed to do well enough to keep his 10th place. The final point paying position. Of course, he needs to have a 1 second gap if he wants to keep that point position due to his penalty. There's Coleman. Down to 2.3 with Matt. There's Tomas, he's come out the pits. 1 minute 25 behind. Oh, that can't be right. Yeah, 4 seconds behind. I was going to say, there's no way he's a minute 25 behind. 4 seconds behind Roach. How far behind Alex is Roach? Yeah, okay. So Tomas is going to be hoping for P7 realistically here. I doubt he can catch Alex unless something happens to him. 1.8 now. A 1:35.9. I think that's the first time we've seen a 35 this race. Coleman is really going for this. Of course, when he came out of the pits, he was about 8 seconds behind Sean. It's now 4.7 to Sean, so this isn't over yet. It's just a case of how quickly can Coleman clear Matt. There's Ben, 7 seconds behind Coleman's. I think something must have happened to Ben in that lap to a 41. Must have had a half spin somewhere. I will give Ben. That livery is very, very basic, but it just suits the BMW very nice. And Jeff in the battle between Jeff and Greg. Greg has got a 1.5 second gap at the moment. There is Sean. And if anything, it also looks like Matt is catching Sean. So, you've got Matt catching Sean, although Sean was faster last lap. But Matt has overall brought the gap down a little bit, so could we see the three of them sort of converge in the last few laps? Here's Apollo, 3.8 behind Ben. So, is it out of the question for Apollo to get his 4th place back? He would have hoped to get it from Matt, but he might have to get it from Ben at this rate, because Matt has somehow got ahead of everyone at the pit stops. This is the main thing we need to focus on right now. As there, Sean has pulled the gap back up to 3.5 seconds. Is Matt and Coleman. Feels like we focused on Sean and Coleman a lot today. It's because they are providing the battle for the win. Matt could still get into it just now, but doesn't look. Well, he did do a fast lap last time. So he could be in it, but He doesn't seem to be consistently quick enough to catch on. It seems to fluctuate a lot. There is Ben, 3.5 to Apollo. So we've got a couple of battles going on. The one for 10th place, the one for 4th place, and of course the one for the win. Greg is just 6/10 ahead of Jeff. Whereas as it stands, Jeff would get the final point from that due to Greg's second penalty. Go back to the front, 1.3. Coleman will be starting to get close to a slipstream effect off of Matt. So we haven't seen Coleman up against a Porsche yet in terms of straight line speed. The only one that seems to have matched him so far is Sean's Ferrari. We did see him breeze by some other cars, so we'll see what it's like against a Porsche. Again, looks like it's only just slightly quicker. Might be different with a slipstream. So are the penalties still the same? Up to 4 seconds for Ben. Again, so this is another one of Apollo just needs to stay within 4 seconds, and he has 4th place off of Ben. Here we go, Matt, 3.6 to Sean, 1.2 to Coleman. I think his ambition this race is just he's gonna have to be looking backwards rather than forwards. There is Coleman flashing sight, please stay right, until I get past as well, not just let Matt past. Of course that can sometimes happen, a back marker will see one car, let it go, and then just pull back onto the line, not realising there's a second one, so that was well done from GMG to stay there. Now this is going to be the first time Coleman's had a real chance at Matt. He's within half a second. If you can just stay with him through the first 4 corners. Matt a little bit sideways to 3. It does look like that Porsche is quite quick in a straight. Coleman didn't have the greatest exit out of turn 4, but he wasn't really catching and he would have had a slipstream. Apollo is ever so slightly catching Ben, he's down to about 3 seconds. Ben must have had another terrible lap, a 39.7. Now, how's Apollo only caught that little? Unless Apollo's made a mistake in the first part of the lap somewhere. And these two are still scrapping away for 10th place at the final point. So go back to the fight for second. Of course, the longer Coleman sits here, the less likely he is to win. If he can clear Matt quite quick, he has a couple of laps to go chase Sean down. Didn't get a great exit out of these corners last time. It doesn't look like he got a great one this time either. He seems to... I don't know if he's making a mistake or that's just his line, but he seems to go very wide out of 3 and then tight through 4. Which I thought it would have been sort of the other way around, tight through 3 and then wide out 4. But that's how he takes the corner and that's how he does it. GMG is into the pits again. He must have had a crash somewhere. Or he just wants new tyres. And there is Sean. The longer this goes on, the more likely it looks like he's going to win the race. So he'll just be sitting there hoping Matt can hold Coleman off for as long as he can. Again, Coleman, unbelievably fast through the Mobile 1 curve. That Ford making some real noises through there. Now Coleman is right on the back of him through the Nord curve. Is he going to stick a nose in for turn 1? No, thinks better of it. He's a lot closer this time to Matt. This is his best chance so far. Is Matt gone deep? No. Well, Coleman's done the line I thought was more traditional. And he's got a much better chance now. He's going to be able to just tuck into the slipstream. Matt pulls right. Although, there is a car there. Coleman was a great... thought it looked like a much better exit out of 6. Wasn't quite enough. Well, that back marker sort of put them off. But that was definitely Coleman's best chance. He had a much better exit, taking the line that I thought was more traditional. Just have an update on the penalty still. 4 seconds and 1 second. How is Ben doing in his battle with Apollo? 3 seconds. Again, Coleman did the sort of going fast through 3 and then tighter through 4 and he's lost out in the exit. He was right behind Matt. He's ducking and diving every which way, just trying to force Matt into a mistake. Which he might have. Not quite close enough. And that's Apollo now with a penalty. 2 seconds. So that puts the fight for 4th into a new perspective. Apollo has to catch Ben. Tomas has made the move on Roach up into 7th place. So he's gone from 9th to 7th. Again, that last sector. Coleman all over Matt, practically pushing him through turn 14. Out of 16, Coleman's had to slow down mid-corner just to not hit Matt. What's Coleman's plan of attack going to be this time? Matt looked like he got a pretty poor X out of there. Is Coleman just going to have to send it? Or what did he think about a jink to the inside? Again, Matt made a mistake, but Coleman just wasn't quite close enough to capitalise. So you go into turn 8 now, there's some cars battling ahead. And that's Adrian, they're lapping just there, I believe. Yeah, that was Adrian. That would have been Sean lapping someone. You can just see out of turn 11 how much Coleman catches. And into turn 12, just having to follow. Same with 13 and 14. If you're really brave and perhaps a bit stupid, you could throw one into 15. Not a chance through 16. Again, just so close for Coleman. That time he did sort of put his nose to the inside. This is his chance. Matt made a mistake. Coleman's got the inside. Oh, they've touched. That's... Oh, side to side. Neither of them got lost anything, so that's okay. Coleman flashing lights. I think he feels he was hit. He just needs to keep ahead of Matt this time. It's roles reversed. Because we saw Coleman is so fast through the second half of the lap. I was going to say, Matt, don't go down the inside. There's no room there. Matt has gone straight on. Ambition over adhesion from Matt into that corner. Coleman has done it. With 7 minutes to go, he has got his P2 back. Still the same penalties for everyone. 2.9 Ben to Apollo. So, it's going to be very tight between those two. Of course, it doesn't have to be done on track. And we can see Coleman already is flying away. That's what it took, just one mistake from Matt, and Coleman was there to pounce. It did help that Coleman was practically pushing Matt through some of the last corners, and he was there. But it seems the threat from Matt is over, as he's got it up to nearly 1.5 seconds. Right, 6.5 minutes. That means there's probably going to be 4 or 5 laps. So Coleman is going to have to do something pretty impressive to go get Sean. There is Sean in your frame. He's doing the more traditional line from 3 and 4, like I think is the right one. And then you see Coleman, he goes very wide out of 3 and then tight through 4. I would more take sort of Sean's line, but it works differently for everyone. Jeff has managed to take the 10th place off of Greg. Greg is now 7.5 seconds behind, so either Jeff Scottman is driven away, or it's been a mistake. So you would think, barring anything spectacular, Sean will win this. And then you've got Ben and Apollo. And that gap is about 2 seconds now. Just make sure they're on the same penalties. Yep, 4 and 2 seconds for Ben and Apollo. Ben needs to get out of the 37s if he wants to match Apollo with a 36.7 last lap. He was fastest of anyone. Only just ahead of Alex though. He has a lot of pace. It was a shame he was caught up in that early crash. He could have been involved in all of this, so shame for him. But Jeff, he also went off early on. He went off through turn 10. He's 8 seconds behind Adrian. There is Matt. You can see Coleman has already driven away. 2.5 seconds. Perhaps the Ford isn't as quick as it looked in Nürburgring, or maybe he has a very high downforce setup, but seems he's slightly struggling to get past Matt and Sean in the straight. These two, they are hovering on the 2 second mark. Right now they are the wrong side of it if you're Ben. Ben with another 37.5, Apollo into the 36.7s. As it stands, Apollo could end up doing this on track. Looks like they have Adrian a couple of corners ahead of them to be lapped. .2, where it's Coleman doing 37 dead. So there's only going to be, well, there might be 3 laps depending on how quick Sean is. Oh look, still the same penalties. We're the fastest lap times. Coleman, the only one to drop into the 35.9s. Tomas with a 36.1 is the closest match for Coleman, so that shows he actually has pace, although he has dropped back down to 8th and is 7 seconds behind Roach. So he has the pace, he's just had a bit of a poor race. So only a minor miracle is going to let Coleman win this one. Lost out through the pit stops. And it looks like this one might actually be decided on track, as Ben's now into the 38s. He is really struggling. Of course, he was one who pitted very early into the race, so his tyres could have gone, which it might be why he's struggling. Apollo was one of the later pitters. Looks like Ben got an early jump on a lot of people, but hasn't worked out for him. Of course, he came out ahead of Coleman, and he's now 16 seconds behind. Ben pits for some reason. I'm guessing Ben has miscalculated fuel. That might have been why he was going slow. But I guess it's better to do that than run out of fuel. Because he's only going to lose out to Alex, and he's still going to come out ahead of Roach. So, he's lost his P4 to Apollo, but is down to P6. I mean, pitting for 6th would have been better than running out of fuel and not finishing at all. So that actually explains why Ben was probably going quite slow. He probably had his engine turned down fully. There is Sean, 30 seconds left. He's got Coleman bearing down on him. It's just a shame for Coleman he couldn't have got Matt 1 or 2 laps earlier, because we could have seen another fight for the win, but it just seemed the strategy did come into it, and Coleman was the big loser of it all, being a net P4 after it. Sean with another 38.0 and Coleman a 37.1. So they have one more lap to do. All Sean needs to do is keep it on the road and go at least 2.2 seconds within Coleman's pace. Because if Sean gets a bit nervous and slows down just to bring it home, well, you can see Coleman's already got 6/10 in the first sector. I think Sean might need to speed it up here. Because if Coleman gets right behind him into the last sector, I don't think he's going to wait around, and I think you can see from the time lost on the straight, Sean's gone wide. This is not over. Sean is struggling for fuel. As Coleman's got him. Coleman has somehow come back. Sean must have a massive fuel miscalculation. Him and Ben have struggled with the fuel then, and that has somehow let Coleman win this race. Coleman with an amazing drive. He has come back to win this. The strategies ruined him. He had a great battle with Sean, This is unbelievable. It looked all wrapped up for Sean, but Coleman has again made an excellent recovery and comes around the last corner to win at Hockenheim. Sean, who must be mega disappointed, leading for all but 2 sectors, has come home in second. Matt drops down to third. Apollo, with Ben's pit stop, is fourth. Yeah, Apollo comes across the line to take his 4th place. Here comes Alex. He'll take his 5th place, or Willie. Oh. I mean, I'm sure that's not how you anticipate to finish the race, but he's finished nonetheless. There's Ben getting past with GMG. He took the risk that Sean didn't. As there's GMG ending aboard. Ben pitted. Sean had to take the risk. There's Roach coming around for 7th place. He'll take his 7th place. Tomas is just... oh, he's nearly off that last corner again. We saw him off earlier. He will take his 8th place. And that must be everyone finished. So there we go. Coleman wins, taking it on the last lap. He does a 35.9. Sean, who must be devastated, led all but 2 sectors, takes P2. Matt with 3rd place from 2nd on the grid. Apollo takes 4th. Alex 5th. Ben, who had to make a late 2nd stop, in 6th. Roach 7th. Tomas in 8th. Jeff in 9th. And Jackson in 10th. And rounding out, we had Greg in 11th. GMG in 12th. And then 2 retirements, one of which is Adam, the other I'm not sure. So we have witnessed an unbelievable race here in Hockenheim. And, wow. Well, we hope you will join us for the next race in Bathurst. Wow. That was something, and I hope the next one will be just as good.